and they themselves consider that they are dispensable. I think it's a symptom rather than a cause.
For the person who has the knowledge about collectivism, prior to coming to this program right now, I want to kind of address this question to the person who doesn't have it in a before and after way. We have a collectivism society here. Europe has one, and the other countries around the world seem to fall into that category as well. The Founding Fathers broke away from King George III, Declaration of Independence, his system, and as you mentioned, collectivism was in there. Said, guys, we're not going to do this anymore. So for a brief period of time in the United States, we were operating or trying to operate in a non-collectivism manner, were we not?
Absolutely. The principles of individualism are embedded in the Constitution of the United States everywhere you look.
Our schools were not government schools. They were what? Private entities.
Unfortunately, from the very beginning, there were some state-sponsored schools. I think that was a violation of common sense, if not the rules of collectivism. But most of the schools were not government-run. They were private schools. They were as a result of communities getting together and all passing the hat to be able to generate enough money to pay for the school marm, this sort of thing. But very quickly it shifted over to being a tax-supported institution, always on the argument that it's for the greater good of the greater number. I mean, wouldn't it be for the greater good of mankind or for the greater good of the country if everyone were educated? And everybody said, well, yes, that would be for the greater good of the country. And so therefore, let's pass a law and have taxes and we'll make this a government operation. So early on, that crept into our way of life.
Local governments currently today, in this year, small governments, big governments, are they of a collectivism mentality?
Well, I think all governments in the modern world are of a collectivist mentality.
Right.
I cannot think of an exception because they're based on the concept of coercion. I mean, that is the nature of government, the use of legalized force to accomplish everything that the laws have decreed shall be accomplished. That's one of the requirements of collectivism. There's very little room left in modern governments for the idea of voluntary compliance or just setting a standard and saying, come on, everybody, let's go with it and meet this goal. There's very little room for that. Wherever you find it, it's usually with the proviso that if you don't do this, then we'll force you. That's always in the background. They say, you can do this voluntarily, but if you don't, then we'll force you. Well, that's not a voluntary offer at all.
We have a radio interview on this website, How to Build a Perfect Country. It deals with the state of New Hampshire. They seem to have more of a free market thinking in that state. And I'm trying to call out now to people, here we have a definition of collectivism. What do we do? How about studying some of the things going on in New Hampshire right now and taking that down to the grassroots level of their communities? How would you inspire someone to take kind of a grassroots effort to start identifying collectivism and challenging it?
A very good question. I think first you laid the framework for the action right there. First you have to identify it, which means you have to understand it. It means you have to know what it is. And for most of us, that involves a learning process. And so I would recommend the first stage in this process is to become better informed as to what collectivism is, what its roots are, where the idea came from, and how it evolved throughout history. And we have some excellent material on that for those that want to pursue that at our Reality Zone site. So that would be our realityzone.com. You can find all kinds of books and recordings and videotapes on that topic. And then having gotten up to speed so we really know what the enemy looks like, so we don't make fools of ourselves, then how do you go about unseating collectivism? Well, now that opens up a big question. And that's why we have Freedom Force International. That's a group of men and women who are determined to do exactly that. Not just know about collectivism, not just worry about it, not just to complain about it, but to actually get mobilized and organized so they can recapture control of the power centers of society away from collectivism and turn these structures back around in the direction of freedom. So anybody that's interested in actually doing something with this knowledge, I really urge them to come and take a serious look at Freedom Force International.
Also, for your knowledge base, realityzone.com, www.realityzone.com. And we welcome your feedback. Once again, we have a program dealing with the state of New Hampshire, how to build the perfect country. I would welcome you. There's a feedback category on this website right now. Click onto it. Let us know what your thoughts are about this program. And do you have anything going on in your community where you've challenged collectivism? We'd like to hear from you. Ed Griffin would definitely like to hear from you. Want to review these things, share the information. Let's get it out. As Mr. Griffin pointed out, power is a good thing when it's channeled in the right way. And if you're in a situation where you feel there's nothing you can do, yes, there is. Right here at this website, you can start right now. Check out the feedback. Ed Griffin, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
This has been a Free Market News ETV special presentation. Visit us online at freemarketnews.com.